Alright, welcome back. We got a special little thing here. We got quite a bit of snow that kind of slowed down my video editing. So we've got the Tiburon out here. We've got a nice patch of packed down ice and snow. So let's go have a little fun. Who says you can't have fun with front-wheel drive? So let's hit up some more Camry build, and we'll see you again later. Alright, so welcome back to Driveway and the Camry project. We just finished up the majority of what this thing needs to be just to have the lifted Camry. But what we're going to start today is phase 2 of the project, which is more of the wants versus needs. So we're going to get into like some stereo equipment and stuff like that. I've got some things from old vehicles that I can just recycle in there. Contemplating just using these little subs that I have laying around. So that's going to be the idea for this phase. We're going to also take care of lights, and in the same stereo type of thing, we'll have a new head unit that we got to put in there, run some wiring, get everything buttoned up, and then also we're planning on having a snorkel set up. Since this is kind of still a low riding vehicle, we don't want to snorkel up some water through big puddles or something. So we'll have something rigged up there. So that'll be phase 2 of the project. Probably 4 or so episodes, somewhere in that vicinity. And then we'll take this thing out and start beating on it. But for today, we have lights, and then once we got those squared away, we'll then be able to paint the front bumper and go from that point. So that's the plan for today. Let's get rolling. Alright, so at the front, you can see we got our extra crossbar in there. This will then allow us to take this lovely light bar, and we can just mount it right up in there. So that'll be pretty good. I've kind of already scribed out places to put the bolts, and then we're just going to use a thread insert. Then down here, probably can't really see, let's zip it down a little more. Back here, we're going to put, we will throw a set of these fog lights down about yay area. Should look pretty decent, give us a little bit of something. And these are kind of an interesting thing because they actually have a couple light strips top and bottom that are the amber color. So depending on how it looks, I might just wire those up into the blinker sets as well. Or maybe we'll wire them up into standard daytime running light type of thing. But either way, these guys are going up here. And then we got another set that's like half this size for auxiliary backup lights. So that's where we're at this time around. I'm gonna have to grab the drill, hog out those 3 holes up there, and then I think we're also going to get the tow hooks set up. So I got these tow hooks that are pretty much just going to go about there. It's going to be a little interesting. I got the bolt-in style, so that way I can bolt it in and then I'll come through and run a weld. But we're also going to have to grab some sheet metal and reinforce it a little bit because that's not super strong and I kind of want to stiffen it up a little bit. So we'll do that once we get the holes drilled so everything looks good and we take it off, finish welding a couple items, and then we'll paint her up. So that's the plan. I'm going to grab my drills. We're just going to hog out them holes and see how everything lines up. All right, so you can see for the most part we got all them lights rigged up the way they're supposed to. Still need to adjust this one a little bit. We got some angle issues that need to be worked out. Then we'll have to work on aligning these things, but we look pretty good. This guy in here should be far enough in outside of the bumper piece to make sure that we don't smash anything, and then hopefully it's far enough forward so it doesn't block some of the light. But if it does block a little bit of the light, these little guys will pick up that slack. So that is not too bad. I still want to put some sort of panel across here. I guess I'm gonna have to zip all these bolts back off so we can remove the whole bumper and mount up the toe loops on each edge and maybe clearance the edge of this bumper section. Because as you can tell, it's kind of angled that way. Maybe we can hog it back a little bit here so that way it doesn't interfere with the light beam. And then we can wire this thing up. Not too bad. All right, so we got the bumper on the bench here. So we're going to finish welding up our crossbar here, and then we're weld these big eye hooks. These are already bolted through the bumper. The top one goes through the entire thickness, so I had to put a spacer. So that way, once it starts pulling on that, it's not gonna crush the bumper. And then I'm also reinforcing with an extra piece of 1/8 inch up here to help spread the load out a little bit. And hopefully that should do us well enough. It's like we don't plan on pulling any semi-trucks out with it, but just something to hook the car to. Then of course, these hooks will just go on right about there, and we'll just let them bang around and rattle all they want. So, that means I need to get welding here, and then we'll be in a much better spot. All right, we got the bumper hung up. We are going to hose it down with some of the same hammer tone spray paint, similar to what I put on the cage in the Crossfire and what's currently on the rear bumper of the Camry already. I'm going to talk over the heater in the corner because it doesn't need to get any colder in here. We're already at a minimum temperature for spray paint to work. So I'm just going to hose this thing down. There's really no need to keep the video here because I think everybody's kind of used spray paint before. So I'm going to get hosing on this thing. Then we can just dress it up, put it on the car, and then we'll just have to worry about wiring. Alright, so as a whole, we are looking pretty good. We got our little pod lights hooked up. We got our big light bar, kind of looking right up at it. Looking pretty good. I'm happy with it. Still have to figure out what we're going to do for the rest of the skid plate up in the front. But that shouldn't be too difficult to deal with. So we're doing something over there that probably shouldn't be revealed quite yet. Just kind of getting a look for things. So as a whole, everything's kind of looking pretty good. Got our toe loops hooked up so we can get dragged out of places. So yeah, a little bit of wiring, not too bad there. And we'll be set. Now we're gonna do that wiring when we tackle the stereo inside, because we're gonna have to run our switches and everything right where the stereo's at. So, I've got a couple more things to throw down to make the next spot easier, and then we'll just see how we roll from there. So yeah, definitely happy with the way this thing's going. Anyways, thanks for stopping by and watching, and hopefully we'll see you again later.